1981p. What if I told you that a simple nickel from 1981, the kind you may have once used to buy a soda or slip into a jukebox, could today be worth far more than its face value? Imagine holding a piece of change that you thought was ordinary, only to discover it could bring you hundreds or even thousands of dollars. I want you to picture this. A man in Pennsylvania was going through an old coffee can of nickels he had saved from his father's dresser. Among the dull, worn coins, one caught his eye, the 1981 Philadelphia Jefferson Nickel. It looked ordinary at first, but under closer inspection, it revealed subtle details that collectors are searching for today. That coin, forgotten for decades, became a treasured discovery that reminded him of his childhood, of standing in line at the corner store, jingling coins in his pocket. Sometimes, history doesn't sit in a museum, it lives right in our hands. So why is the 1981p Jefferson Nickel so special? First, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when coinage quality was inconsistent. Some coins were released with sharp details, while others had weak strikes or unique variations. Collectors today pay premiums for coins with clear, strong features, especially the steps on Monticello's design. If you find one with what's called a full steps strike, you could be looking at a nickel worth far more than pocket change. High-grade examples of this coin are in demand, and they continue to climb in value because so few have survived in pristine condition. Too many people have spent this nickel without realizing its worth. Think about the countless hands these coins have passed through, slid across diner counters, tucked into piggy banks, given as change at gas stations. Each time one slipped back into circulation, another chance at a valuable find was lost. Don't let that happen to you. If you happen to come across a 1981 nickel, check the date carefully. It must show 1981 with the P mint mark from Philadelphia. Look closely at the Monticello building on the reverse side. If you can see the steps clearly defined, with little to no wear, that's your sign you may be holding something collectors dream of finding. Condition is everything, and the sharper the detail, the higher the demand. The best way to know for sure is to have it authenticated and graded by trusted experts like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm whether your coin is one of the rare survivors in top condition, and from there, its market value can surprise you. So before you dismiss that old jar of coins in the kitchen, take another look. That jar may not just hold nickels, it could hold a piece of American history and a path to unexpected wealth. Every coin tells a story, and this one might just be waiting to tell yours. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you uncover history hiding in plain sight. 1985p. What if a nickel from the year 1985, the same kind you may have tossed into a gumball machine, could be worth thousands today? Imagine holding a simple coin that most people overlooked, never realizing it held a hidden treasure in plain sight. Back in the mid-1980s, America was changing. Families gathered around wood-paneled TVs, gas was barely $1 a gallon, and pocket change jingled with Jefferson nickels that seemed so ordinary no one gave them a second thought. But buried in that sea of nickels, struck in Philadelphia in 1985, were a select few that turned into legends. Collectors didn't notice them right away. Decades later, as those nickels resurfaced in old jars, shoeboxes, and dresser drawers, stories began to emerge of people cashing in coins they had forgotten for decades, only to learn their humble nickel was now worth far more than they ever dreamed. The 1985 Philadelphia Mint mark Monticello Jefferson Nickel became special because of a unique combination of history and scarcity. While millions were struck, the quality of the strike was unusually poor that year, making sharp, well-preserved examples extremely rare. On top of that, coins with full steps visible on Monticello, a tiny detail on the reverse, have become some of the most desirable nickels in the collecting world. Ordinary folks who once spent these nickels without a thought are now realizing that the right coin from this year can fetch serious money, especially in pristine condition. Think of how many of these coins have slipped through people's hands, casually spent at a gas station or given away as change, never to be seen again. Some families unknowingly pass down jars of coins to their children, not realizing a fortune sat at the bottom. Every time one of these rare nickels disappears into circulation, it's like watching history, and opportunity, fade away. So how do you know if you have one of these treasures? First, it must be a Jefferson nickel dated 1985 with a small P mint mark above Monticello, signifying it was struck in Philadelphia. Then look closely at Monticello itself. If you can clearly see the full steps leading up to its front, you're holding one of the most sought-after examples. And remember, condition matters. Coins that have been kept safe and untarnished for decades are the ones that collectors are paying top dollar for today. If you believe you found one, don't guess, get it certified by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts will confirm its authenticity and condition, ensuring you receive the full value it deserves. That old coffee can in your garage, that jar of coins tucked in the kitchen cupboard, those aren't just leftovers from the past. They could be the key to a brighter future. Every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story can change your life. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you uncover the history hiding right in your hands. 1988. What if a nickel you once carried to the corner store in 1986 could be worth more today than some people's paychecks? Yes, an ordinary Jefferson nickel from Denver, with one small secret, has turned collectors' heads and become a hidden treasure in America's pocket change. Picture this. It's 1986, Ronald Reagan is in the White House, and gas is under $1. In Denver, millions of Jefferson nickels roll off the presses. They clink into change drawers, jingle in lunch money, and disappear into piggy banks across the country. But among them, a tiny fraction carry something unusual, a minting oddity, an imperfection that would one day turn the most ordinary nickel into a coin collectors would fight over. One story tells of a man who stumbled upon one of these nickels in his late father's old cigar box. What he thought was just pocket change turned out to be worth thousands, a hidden gift from the past. The 1986 Jefferson nickel is no ordinary 5-cent piece. Collectors prize it because of rare striking errors and exceptionally high-grade examples that survived in pristine condition. With the Denver D mint mark tucked neatly beside Monticello, certain nickels show doubling, weak strikes, or unusually sharp details, the kind of quirks that make experts bid aggressively at auctions. In today's coin market, a flawless 1986 D can command thousands of dollars, proof that history can hide in plain sight. Think about how many of these nickels slipped through people's fingers unnoticed. Spent at the gas station, tossed into vending machines, or traded for a soda. The truth is, many treasures have been lost to time because folks didn't know what they were holding. That's the heartbreak of coin collecting. The most if you have a 1986 nickel, turn it over in your hands. The date must read 1986, and just to the right of Jefferson's portrait, you'll see the Denver Mint's proud little D. Flip it and study Monticello carefully. Do the steps and pillars look doubled? Does the strike appear sharper than usual, as though carved yesterday? These are the telltale signs that separate an ordinary nickel from a fortune, and if your heart skips a beat because your coin looks different, don't leave it to chance. The best collectors turn to trusted grading services like PCGS or NGC, or consult a reputable coin dealer who can confirm authenticity and value. A professional eye is the difference between pocket change and payday. So, take a moment tonight. Pull out that old jar of coins, the one sitting in your kitchen cabinet or tucked away in your attic. Hidden inside could be a Jefferson nickel that carries not just value, but a story of America, of history, of your own past. Sometimes the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you uncover the wealth of history hiding in plain sight. 1988. What if I told you that a simple nickel sitting in your pocket change could be worth far more than 5 cents, even enough to change your life? Imagine reaching into an old coffee can of coins and finding a hidden treasure that collectors all across America are searching for right now. That's the story behind the 1988 Monticello Jefferson nickel, a coin that looks ordinary, yet holds extraordinary value. Picture this, it's 1988. Gas is under $1. Families are still renting VHS tapes at the local video store, and life feels simpler. People use these nickels every day to buy candy bars, newspapers, or a cup of coffee. But hidden among the millions minted that year was a small number with something truly unusual about them. A coin that slipped quietly into circulation, only to reappear decades later in the hands of collectors who couldn't believe what they had stumbled across. For one man in Pennsylvania, it was just loose change from his dresser drawer, until he noticed a tiny detail that made his heart skip a beat. That little nickel, nearly forgotten, turned out to be worth thousands. So what makes the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel so valuable? It's not just its age, it's the error. On the obverse of some coins, the initials of the engraver, Felix Schlag, are missing or faint. Others carry a striking anomaly in the design, creating a mismatch between die varieties. This rare error, combined with the P mint mark for Philadelphia, has made these coins stand out as some of the most sought-after nickels of the late 20th century. While most nickels from that year are worth a mere 5 cents, the rare varieties in pristine condition can command staggering prices from collectors eager to own a piece of minting history. Now here's the part that stings. So many of these coins were spent unknowingly. They passed through cash registers, vending machines, and children's piggy banks without a second thought. Imagine someone unknowingly paying for a cup of coffee with a nickel worth thousands of dollars. The truth is, many people already let these treasures slip away because they never bothered to look closely. But the ones who did, the ones who stopped and checked, are the ones smiling today. So how do you know if you might be holding one of these special nickels? First, the date should read 1988 with a clear P mint mark right under Jefferson's portrait. Second, look closely at the designer's initials near the base. If they appear faint, missing, or misaligned, you may have something remarkable in your hands. And finally, turn the coin and examine the Monticello. Any unusual strikes, doubling, or design mismatches instantly increase the value. If you believe you've discovered one, don't just toss it back in the jar. Have it professionally graded and authenticated through trusted services like PCGS or NGC. These experts can confirm its rarity and help unlock its full market value. So the next time you sort through that old jar of coins in your kitchen, or the box tucked away in your attic, remember this: the past doesn't just carry memories, it can carry wealth. That 1988 P. Monticello nickel might not just be a reminder of yesterday, it could be the key to your tomorrow. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we uncover the history hiding in plain sight and help you discover the treasures that may already be in your home. What if I told you that a single nickel, one you might have passed through your hands in the 90s without a second thought, could today be worth thousands of dollars? Imagine the change in your pocket carrying the power to transform your life, simply because of a small detail most people never notice. The 1996 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel holds a special place in American coin history. It was struck in Denver at a time when nickels were abundant and ordinary, yet a select few left the mint with remarkable traits that would set them apart forever. Picture this: a man in Colorado, sorting through an old coffee can of coins his father had saved, comes across a Jefferson nickel that looked just a bit different. What seemed like a simple family keepsake turned out to be a rare treasure worth more than he ever imagined. That story isn't fiction, it's the reality for collectors who know what to look for. The 1996 D. Monticello nickel is valuable not just for its age, but for its scarcity in high-quality condition and for certain striking anomalies that make it so desirable. Collectors are willing to pay thousands for pristine examples with sharp details, deep luster, or rare minting errors. This nickel isn't just a coin, it's a piece of history with the power to command extraordinary value in today's market. Think of how many of these nickels have slipped through the cracks. People spent them on a cup of coffee, handed them over at a gas station, or tossed them into vending machines without realizing what they held. Every day, rare coins are lost forever to ordinary transactions. Don't let that happen to you. If you still have jars of coins tucked away in your home, here's what matters. The date must read 1996, and the coin should carry the D. mint mark, stamped proudly just beside the Monticello design. High-grade versions, free of scratches and worn surfaces, are where the real magic happens. And if your coin shows any striking errors, off-center designs, double impressions, or unusual marks, you may be holding something incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. Once you believe you've found a special piece, don't leave it to chance. Submit it to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, or visit a trusted coin dealer. With proper verification, you'll know exactly what you have, and what it's worth in today's thriving collector market. So before you dismiss that dusty coin jar in your kitchen or the change in your dresser drawer, take a closer look. That nickel from your younger days could carry the weight of history and the promise of a better tomorrow. Don't let your hidden treasure slip away unnoticed. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you uncover the history and the fortune hiding in plain sight. What if I told you that a single nickel from 1998, something you may have tossed into a coin jar without a second thought, could now be worth thousands of dollars? Imagine holding a piece of everyday change that could change your future. That's the quiet mystery behind the 1998 P. Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. Picture this: a man in Pennsylvania is emptying his pockets after years of collecting loose change in an old coffee tin. Among the ordinary coins, one shines a little differently. He doesn't think much of it until a coin dealer notices a striking detail on the Monticello design. That ordinary nickel, forgotten for decades, turns out to be one of the rarest varieties struck in modern history. What began as small change soon became life-changing. So what makes the 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel so valuable? It all comes down to a rare die error combined with its Philadelphia mint mark. Some coins were struck with sharper, doubled features on the Monticello building and Jefferson's profile, making them distinct from the millions of standard nickels. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for pristine examples of this coin, especially when certified. In fact, demand has surged in recent years, and high-grade specimens have reached staggering values in auctions. Now think about this: how many of these coins slipped through people's fingers at grocery stores, gas stations, or in pocket change? Many were unknowingly spent, mixed back into circulation, and lost forever. Every time someone overlooked it, they unknowingly gave away a treasure. That's why it's so important to know exactly what to look for, because once these coins disappear into private collections, opportunities like this become rarer and rarer. The 1998 date is the first key. Next, the P. mint mark from Philadelphia must be present, sitting proudly to the right of Jefferson's portrait. Then, look closely at the Monticello design on the reverse. Many of the most valuable examples show doubled lines in the columns or unusual strengthening of Jefferson's features. If your coin has these markers, you may be holding a small fortune in your hands, and when you find one, don't just leave it sitting in a drawer. Have it authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, or bring it to a trusted coin dealer. Certified coins not only prove authenticity but dramatically increase their value in the marketplace. So the next time you glance at that old jar of nickels in your kitchen or the forgotten rolls tucked in your dresser drawer, remember this: one simple coin could hold the key to a richer tomorrow. History isn't always locked in museums, sometimes it jingles in your pocket. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures today, where we help you uncover the hidden wealth of history waiting right in plain sight.